Okay, for this project, we are going to be making a cute little summer sign. I'm going to be adding adhesive vinyl to this cute little galvanized sign that I found. Obviously, you can add it to whatever you like. This sign I believe I found it at Dollar General, but I cannot find it there anymore. But I did find a similar sign at Hobby Lobby, so if you're interested in that, I will go ahead and leave the link for that. So I'm using my Cricut Joy Extra. You could obviously use any of the Cricut machines. If you're going to do the Cricut Joy, just remember the smaller you go, it may be more difficult to cut some of the vinyl pieces, so just keep that in mind. I have a standard grit mat. I've got my adhesive vinyl that I'm going to be using. I've got black and then 4 different colors for the little chairs. Transfer tape. I've got my brayer to put my vinyl on my cutting mat so that it cuts better. My squeegee, my weeding tools. I've got some blue painter's tape that I'm going to use for when I get ready to do my my design on my sign, and I'm going to show you a little trick to help you line it up better, and then we're also going to use parchment paper for that. So I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how to get it all ready in Design Space. Okay, so here we are inside of Design Space. This is what your SVG is going to look like when it lands on your canvas. And we're going to take a look at it over here. I'm just going to drop this down so you can see. These are the words, welcome, and then the unplug and unwind, and then these are all the chairs. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, oops, let's leave that group for right now. I'm going to bring in a shape that's going to represent the project that I'm going to put it on. So whatever size of your project that you're going to use, obviously you want to measure that first. I'm using a galvanized metal sign that I found, 11 inches wide by 5 inches tall. Lock this again, and I'm going to turn this into a guide so that we can see through it, and I'm going to send it to the back. Okay, so now I want to bring this over and I'm going to shrink this down, and I know by I did a test run and the size that I did earlier, 9.25, so I'm going to leave this locked, 9.25. And what I did was, I have mentioned this before, if you have followed me, you probably know that I like to do things that my brain doesn't have to work very hard. So what I'll do is I went ahead and measured my sign, but I can never convince myself that it's actually the size that I want it. So keep in mind that there are 2 holes here. So what I did was I took this, put it at the size that I liked, and I actually did it 4 different times to make sure that I got it to their correct size. But then I use this as a print and cut, and I print it out. I don't actually do the cut part. I use my scissors to cut it. But I use this so that I can print this out and then lay it on my project to make sure it's the correct size. But for this demonstration, I actually want you guys to go ahead and print this out. So if you have a printer, go ahead and print this out, and I'm going to show you a really easy way, a little trick for how you're going to line up your chairs so they are straight, since they are all different colors. Now if they're the same color, it wouldn't matter, but because these are all different colors, I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do for making sure that they are lined up on your project correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and print this. First I want to show you, let's just go ahead and let's make a copy of this. Move this out of the way. But this, you just come up here and change this to a print and cut, and I'm going to come down here and flatten it. So now I know that this is going to print. And like I said, you don't have to worry about doing the cut part. It's just for printing, just for visual purposes, and then also for lining up our project. So the first thing I want to do, let me go ahead and save this because it's going to ask me if I want to save it anyway. So let's just do welcome summer chairs. Okay. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead, click make. I'm using my Joy Extra, by the way. So just click continue, send to printer. You don't have to worry about your bleed or doing anything fancy. We just want to get a copy of this, and this is going to be the correct size that's going to go on our project. So while that's printing out, I'm going to go back here. I want to cancel this. And we're going to set it up for our vinyl. So let's go ahead and hide that. Okay, so now, bring this a little bit closer. I want to ungroup this. Right click and ungroup, or you can come up here and do it. And for my welcome and the word on the bottom, like I said, those are, right now they are just grouped. They are not attached. But I'm going to go ahead and attach them because I want those to cut together. Both pieces of the black. And then your chairs, those are just grouped. So now when we go to make this, this is going to cut together, and then all of your chairs are going to be separate. But again, if you follow me, you know I like to reduce my mats. I don't want to have to cut 5 different mats. I'm just going to do 4. So I'm going to do my black on this one, and then I'm going to come to here, and I'm going to move my chairs, And it doesn't really matter if you forget what color for this one, like that one's actually supposed to be a teal color, and this one is supposed to be blue, but it doesn't really matter when you get to that cutting part, because as long as you have 4 different colors, all the chairs are the same, so it doesn't really matter. So move object over here. So now that leaves me with black and then all of my chairs. So I am going to cut mine. I'm using adhesive vinyl, and this is the setting that works best with my machine. Now, I've found that all machines are different because I've done this on my Cricut Explorer Air 2 and my Maker, and they all take different settings. So whatever setting works best for you, I'm going to be using premium vinyl permanent glossy. That's what works best with my machine. I'm not using Cricut vinyl. I have a mixture of Oracle 651. That's my black, and then my colors are Starcraft. I may have a Caesar in there too. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one, and I'm going to load my mat, get that all cut, and then I'll show you how to get everything put together. All right, so let's start with our black adhesive vinyl. I'll go ahead and get that on our cutting mat. Get this loaded, and we're going to get all the vinyl cut, and then I'll show you how to get everything put together, and I'll show you the little tricks that I've got for helping to line up your design. And for my colors for my chair, all I did was I took 4 different colors, so whatever colors you decide that you want to use, and I cut them in 3x3 squares. And I'm just going to place them on all 4 corners. Okay, go ahead and close that up, move that out of the way because we don't need that anymore. Pull your vinyl off. Okay, so like I mentioned in the Design Space part of the tutorial, I have printed out my design. So this is what it looks like with the print and cut. It has the registration marks on it. We don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to cut this down, and you can either use a paper trimmer or you can use just a pair of scissors. I'm just going to cut this down. I am horrible at cutting straight lines, so I'm going to use my paper cutter here. And the goal is you want to get it as close as possible. So get it close to that outside word or outside part of the design as you can. Okay, so to show you what I was talking about as far as making sure that your design part is going to line up. So here's my sign. And you can see that this is going to fill up just the right amount for this sign right here. Now, if you wanted it smaller, obviously you could do it smaller, but I wanted to get it as big as I could without going over the edges. So that's part of what I use this for, is to make sure that my design is going to be the correct size. Let me go ahead and get this jute off of here. I think this would be really cute if you guys had like a piece of rope, like for an anchor. Give it a nautical look. That would be really cute to hang it up with, or some painted beads. I can get this untied. I'll pull this out. Okay, so there's this sign. You want to make sure that your sign is clean. You can use some rubbing alcohol to clean that off if you want to. You don't want to have any extra like little pieces of sticker or anything on there. Okay, so the first part that I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and weed my vinyl, and then I'll show you how to get it all put together. All right, and you want to be careful when you're weeding this, because this is adhesive vinyl. You don't want it to fall back on top of each other, like if it rolls back, because it will stick on top of what you've already taken off. So roll back slowly. You don't want to pull up, you want to roll back. And if you feel like it's sticking and you're not getting a good release, you can use some scissors and cut down your vinyl as you go. And I like to do that sometimes, especially if my carrier sheet has rolled up. Sometimes it makes it harder to get a good grip. So let's go ahead and cut that down just to get it out of the way. Alright, so now we have everything weeded. I'm going to put this on first. I'm actually just going to trim this down quick. Got my transfer tape. Put this down here so it stays flat. And you want to make sure that you release this slow. I like to pull the back off and I kind of fold it as I go. And just go really slow so you don't lose any of your pieces. Now for this first part, I'm just going to eyeball it and line it up according to the bottom down here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so same thing when you go to pull up your transfer tape. You want to go slow. And I like to roll. Okay, now I'm going to keep this transfer tape because I'm going to cut it down and I'm going to use this to help line up the rest of our design here. So I'm going to set this to the side. So now that we have this part down here, this is what we printed. If you line it up, obviously it's going to be perfect because it's exactly the same thing that we just did. So what I'm going to do to help us line this up, again, you can use your straight edge if you want to, or you can just use a pair of scissors. I'm going to cut right above where this E is. I'm horrible at cutting a straight line. I'm going to do my best here. Okay, so what that's going to do now is when I lay this on here, I can line this up, and now I know where the rest of my chairs are supposed to be. Okay, so I'm going to line that up as best I can, and then I'm going to get my painter's tape, and I'm going to put a tape on here and do like a hinge so that it's easier when I lift it up. See if I can get a little closer for you guys here. So there's that. I'm going to take this transfer tape and I'm just going to chop it down so it's a little bit smaller. I want to keep the length though, I just want to make it smaller so it's easier to handle. Okay. So I'm going to take my first chair. Parchment paper. Make sure you lay this down or your transfer tape is going to stick to this paper here. So I'm leaving enough so there's some on the side here, and I just want to line this up. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but I can line that up exactly where that chair is. Okay, and now I want to come over here and I want to push it on to my sign. Okay, so now I can roll this back. Hold on to that and move that out of the way. Take your paper and move it up. And then come back. And now you have your first chair down. And again, roll it slow. Okay, so there's one. Now our next one's going to be yellow. That back, take your parchment paper out, flip your sign up, and then come down. Now you have your second chair, and then just repeat that for all of them. And there you have all 4 of your chairs all lined up. And then, like I said, you can just put your sign back on top of here. I mean, your jute if you want to, but I think it'd be really cute if you had a piece of rope that would go on here or some colored beads. But I also think this would be really cute. Like my sister has a little beach cottage by the lake. I think it would be cute to put their names on here. Like maybe just leave the welcome part off and just make this a personalized sign. Like I could put her last name, like maybe the Enderleys up here, and then put her husband's name, her name, and her kids' names on here. I think that would be really cute. Just a little sign for the beach. So that's it for this week's project, guys. I hope you like it. You can find the free SVG in the freebie library. It is design number 205, I believe. I will leave the link for the fonts that I used, of course, and where you can find them on the blog post. Being that this is project number 205, that means that there is 204 more free SVGs on my website that you can find. If you like this project, guys, and you decide to make it, come on over to the Facebook group and show it off because I'd love to see it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Please make sure you give this video a like and maybe subscribe if you guys want to. I would love to have you hang out with me. I love having crafting buddies. But thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. Have a great day.